This is a bit of a video editorial about some of the reactions to the show Finding Bigfoot. Now, I realize that a lot of people think it's the hip thing to do to mock and ridicule and cut down Finding Bigfoot and say, well, that's not real research. That's not true research techniques. Or they're doing it wrong. They're embarrassing the Bigfoot community. Well, I would counter that. I think that a lot of people don't realize what is left on the editing room floor. How much footage do you think is cut out of each episode? And remember, I think I've heard or maybe read that they usually go to an area for like 1 week and they stay in that area and they film. I imagine they probably get hours and hours and hours of footage, but they have to pick out the best of that week's worth of footage. They have to splice it all down to about a 45-minute TV program. So there's going to be stuff that they're not going to use. And it may be good stuff. It may be great stuff. But it may not be exactly what the Animal Planet audience wants. I think the Animal Planet audience wants sensationalism. I think they want instant gratification. We gotta find the Bigfoot right now, and it doesn't work that way. It doesn't happen that way. Bigfooting is not an exact science. You have to plug away at it. You have to keep continuously going at it. If the editors of the show are picking footage that is possibly purposefully to make the guys and the lady on the show look bad, then that's on Animal Planet. That's not on Matt Moneymaker, Cliff Barrickman, Bobo, or Renee. It's not on any of them. It's on Animal Planet. So I think people need to keep that in mind. That and one other thing to keep in mind: this show's not made for us. It's not made for us Bigfooters. It's made for the general public. Matter of fact, any program you see, on cryptozoology, whether it's Sasquatch, whether it's the Loch Ness Monster, whether it's Thunderbirds, whatever. Any program you see is made for the general public. It's not made for cryptozoologists. So that's something to keep in mind, and they want instant gratification. We are that kind of society today. Things are much different than they were 30 years ago, or over 30 years ago when In Search Of was still on the air. And the new season of Finding Bigfoot has not even premiered yet, and there are people who are already saying, well, it's going to be bad because they're going to keep doing the same stuff they've been doing. To be quite honest, I kind of like the way that they've been doing things the last few seasons, the last couple of seasons, where they've had one team member out in the field while the rest of them go to conduct the town hall meeting. Of course, I realize it gets repetitious after a while, and I understand that. It does get repetitious, I agree. Even I have said it gets repetitious. But I think it's something they're trying that's different. It's something unique that they are attempting. And, a lot of people had complaints about Monster Quest. A lot of people had complaints about, Bigfoot the Definitive Guide. A lot of people had complaints about the recent Joe Rogan program. And you're never gonna completely satisfy everybody. Now, I'm a fan of Finding Bigfoot. And unashamedly, I'm a fan of Finding Bigfoot. Do I like everything they do on the show? No. Do I like everything they say on the show? No. But I'm going to keep watching. just because they may say or do something that somebody might not like. Well, look at shows like The Walking Dead, which happens to be my absolute favorite show right now. Um, my second favorite show is Finding Bigfoot, and on Walking Dead, they're always going to do stuff or they're going to say stuff that somebody's not going to like. Somebody's going to criticize it. Somebody's going to gripe about it. But overall, that doesn't stop you from watching the show. It doesn't stop you from enjoying the show. And I enjoy The Walking Dead a lot. It's a great show. Um, you just you have to kind of. I think a lot of people have to look at the show as a whole rather than the sum of its parts. They have to look at it overall, and they have to look at it from the perspective of the cast members of the show, rather than just immediately making snap judgments just because Cliff may say something a little untoward that they may not like, or he may be edited to say or to look like he said something that was a little untoward. It's all about editing these days, and again, it's the instant gratification. Um, everything's There was a term that was invented back in this is a bit of an interesting example. The World Wrestling Federation, Vince Russo, a former writer for the World Wrestling Federation, came up with something called Crash TV, where it's a lot of crazy editing and a lot of well, I mean, for at that time, a lot of sexual content. Now, there's no sexual content on Finding Bigfoot, obviously, but it's the same concept. You're always going to have, and you're always going to have somebody who's not going to like something about a TV show. And sometimes, they have that thing called where TV shows jump the shark. Some TV shows have jumped the shark in some cases. To me, Finding Bigfoot has not yet jumped the shark. Um, Here's the thing: at least they're not going out there hoaxing stuff. I'm glad to see that they're not. Why would they anyway? They wouldn't. Now, there may be times where the editing makes it seem like they're saying something positive about what is obviously not Bigfoot evidence. But perhaps, again, I think it's all about the editing. How do they edit these people? Does Bobo immediately think Squatch every time a twig snaps or a squirrel farts? Who knows? But I think until most Bigfooters are actually on the ground and out there with the crew of Finding Bigfoot, we're not going to know exactly what's actually going on with the filming of the show. Now, I have talked to some people who have been involved with the show. I don't mean people that are involved behind the scenes. I mean people who have been filmed for the show, and they didn't feel like that. They didn't feel like that they were mistreated in any way. And if they went out and did any squatching with the crew of Finding Bigfoot, they didn't feel like the crew of Finding Bigfoot was calling everything squatch. So you kind of have to look at things from the perspective of the people who are doing the show. Certainly, they're going to make mistakes. We all do. We're not perfect. We're all human. There was only one perfect person, and we nailed him to a cross over 2,000 years ago. And he rose again from the dead. So, You're never going to have you're never going to have everything you want in a TV series or a TV show. And that's true with any walk of life. You're never going to have everything exactly the way you want it. But I think if people will step back and take a closer look and realize that, hey, this isn't really for us. It's not made. This show is not made for us. It's made for the general public. Then they won't have any expectations. They'll go into it, with, well, it's just a TV show. I mean, come on, that's exactly what it is. It's a TV show. Why all this psychoanalysis about it? Why all this hate for the show or this dislike for the show? It's a TV show, nothing more. Are they going to find Bigfoot? I don't think so. I don't think they're going. I don't think they're going to have any footage, and I don't think they're going to drag a Sasquatch out by its ear out of the forest. But it's a fun show. It's a fun diversion from the everyday, and it's something that people can watch and, I guess, enjoy if they wish. Anyway, I mean, if it seems like I'm defending Finding Bigfoot, well, I am. Because, folks, it's a TV show. It's nothing to get all excited over.